Sup guys, in this video I want to talk about a curse which plagues some of the ships in the game, which is having an ammo swapping skill. In case you didn't already know, different guns in the game have different ammo types, which deal different amounts of damage to each armor type, light, medium, and heavy. Most of the time, you're supposed to choose the strongest gun for the specific armor type which you're dealing with. For example, if you're up against light armor, you would want to use the Unzen gun here for heavy cruisers, whereas if you were against medium, you would want the Hindenburg gun. However, there are a few ships with skills that force the ammo type of whatever gun they equip to another type, usually with some kind of added benefit. In the case of Roon, she gets a reload buff, and in the case of Drake and Baltimore, they get improved ammo mods. The problem is, when these skills are released, they need to be somewhat balanced around existing equipment and are not adjusted as new equipment is released. With the release of Hindenburg gun, I was curious to see how these ammo swappers stack up to conventional stat stick ships that, judging by stats and rarity, should be a whole tier below them. The data I'll be showing and footage of the testing will be in the description of the video. First, I did a comparison between Portland and Roon, both of whom are level 120 with 200 affection. Roon's best gun is the Hindenburg gun since it has the highest raw DPS, and so is Portland's since it's the strongest against medium. I wanted to do a head-to-head comparison, but 2 of my 3 Hindenburg guns are plus 13, so I had to use plus 13 guns and torps on both of them. After 10 runs, I took their averages, and as you can see, Portland outperformed Roon by about 10%. Since Roon does change Hindenburg gun's ammo to HE for half the salvos, I also tried adding the burn to her damage, making it much closer. This could be relevant if somehow Roon is your only source of burn in a boss fight. Since Roon's reload buff has to stack up, if the battle goes longer, then she might have a chance to catch up to Portland's damage. But it's still pretty sad that a Fate Sim 5 PR ship is outgunned by an older, blue to purple retrofit, just because she's being held back by the ammo swap. Next, I compared Drake to San Francisco. Since Drake has a unique burn, it is relevant and needs to be accounted for. This time, I used plus 10 guns and torps because I don't have a plus 13 Drake gun. Drake is level 120 with 100 affection, while San Francisco is level 125 with 200 affection. The difference in affection should be about 5% damage, which is made up for by San Francisco's skill increasing the entire Vanguard's damage by 5%. All that's left to do is to adjust the results for level advantage. I sorted the two together along with Felix in the middle because San Francisco needs a full Vanguard to activate her rear mode. I recorded the entire Vanguard's damage and used it to find the burn damage by taking the difference between the total raid damage and total end screen damage. I adjusted for Drake's level advantage, and then added the burn to her damage, and the result was that Drake ended up ahead just slightly. However, looking at the total damage of the 3 Vanguards, we see that Felix and Drake sum up to a total of about 100k damage, and since San Francisco buffed both ships' damage by 5%, which will be about 5k, if we add that number to San Francisco's damage, she ends up at about 70k and overtakes Drake. This is a pretty reasonable assumption, I think, as the average damage of the other 2 Vanguards are lower than that of San Francisco. Keeping in mind that this is against medium armor, since Unzen gun and Tash gun are stronger against light armor than Hindenburg gun and Pompeo gun are against medium, we can deduce that San Francisco would be even more ahead of Drake against light armor, meaning that against 2 out of 3 armor types, due to San Francisco having the ability to specialize with newer, stronger equipment, she can outperform Drake. Even though Drake's special armor mods were very powerful at the time of her release, she lacks the ability to use equipment that do not meet the needs of her skill. Once again, we have a DR with Fate Simulation just getting outworked by some event SSR stat stick. While I'm at it, let's also take a look at Baltimore's skill. Her special AP modifiers are quite literally the same as Hindenburg gun's modifiers, so it's pretty much not a skill now with the optimal loadout. Also, the problem isn't specific to heavy cruisers. Massachusetts is another example where her super heavy shell ammo mods, which are supposed to specialize against medium and heavy armor, are straight up weaker than the ammo mods of modern AP guns. And her augment allows you to actually remove the ammo forcing part of her skill, essentially making it an upgrade by erasing the reason she's different from other battleships. So yeah, I think you get the point by now. It's totally normal and expected that old ships get powercraft as new ships come out, but the fact that they're falling behind even older ships of a lower rarity is kinda sad. I hope that they can do something about these skills for the sake of players who love these ships. A potential solution could be to have the forced ammo not override the modifiers of the gun, but if it's forced HE, just increase the gun damage against light armor by 30%, or if it's forced AP, increase the gun damage against medium and heavy armor by 20%, or something like that. Anyways, that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed, and see you in the next one.